Welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. We have John Siggard with us, Superior Technical Solutions. How are you, John?
I'm doing great.
It's so wonderful to have you here on the Mental Margarita Show, and we've got some exciting things to talk about. You specialize in IT solutions for businesses and keeping people secure. And we're gonna learn some things today about what we need to do to stay secure in this crazy world, things going on all around us. But before that, let's go back to the beginning, where it all began. You relatively started getting interested in computers at a very early age. So tell us a little bit about where you're from and how this became a special career for you.
That's a good question. So I grew up in Southern California, and my dad worked for the aerospace industry for a while. He actually worked on the B-2 bomber project. So we lived in Palmdale, California. And when we were kind of growing up, my dad bought a computer. He was one of the early adopters. He found a kind of an interesting way to get a really nice computer. The company he was working for at the time had an incentive where they would pay for half of the computer, and where most of his coworkers were like, okay, I'll get a cheap computer and they'll pay for half and it won't be super expensive. My dad was like, they didn't put a limit on it, so I'm going to buy the most expensive computer I can get. And so he bought a $4,000 computer back in 1982. And
Wow.
that was a lot of money back. It's a lot of money now. It was a lot of money back then. And so I kind of had a computer growing up. And so when my friends started getting computers in the early 90s, they could get on games that I couldn't. And so we got together and figured out, without my dad's knowledge, how to upgrade our computers. And when my dad finally found out, I was sitting there on the computer one day and he walked in the room and he heard the whirring sound of a modem, for those of us old enough to remember that. And he just kind of stopped and looked and said, when did we get a modem? Fortunately, my dad kind of saw that as an opportunity. He's like, wow, my kid actually knows a little bit about computers, and brought me down to a friend of his who had his own company, Allen Technical Services. And he kind of said, you're going to work for free for as long as he'll keep you around and learn what you can. And so for a couple of years there, I got paid in pizza and learned how to work on computers in the early days.
Well, way to go, Dad. That was a great dad move for him to take your talent and your gift and turn that into something great and positive. So it was great, good parenting there.
Yeah.
And what a great skill and trade that turned out to be for you. So you continued your training, you did all that internship, and what got you interested in, now that you specialize in the security and the other solutions, but because as technology changed, it's funny you're mentioning about the sound of a modem. There are things that we remember. I was working for Gateway Computers when we had the Gigabyte come out. So
Right.
We were so excited to finally have a PC that could have a gigabyte. I was just looking at hard drives the other day with terabytes, and it just kind of blew my mind, just kind of going back and remembering how quickly technology changes. Every day we had training every single day for something new. So in this world that moves so fast, what's some of the things that people need to watch out for to stay secure?
With the good, there's always the bad. And a lot of times I run across people that are still kind of stuck in a, security mindset of, the early 2000s, where it's like, oh, I've got an antivirus, I'm good. And unfortunately nowadays, just having a good antivirus isn't enough in order to keep you safe and protected. So a couple of things that you could do. So for residential users, one of the things that we recommend is, and for businesses as well, going on and making sure that you have two-factor authentication set for all of your emails, your social medias, and everything like that. Very common attack we see for both businesses and residential is somebody trying to get in, control of your Facebook account or your Instagram account or something like that, or being able to take over your email. That's one of the scarier things nowadays. If you think about it, like, what would somebody be able to get access to if they had access to your email? Typically, a lot of your passwords are being reset by, oh, forgot your password, send a link to your email. So if somebody can get into your email, then that causes a lot of problems. So I remember when two-factor authentication first came out, it was kind of annoying to be like, oh, I'm just trying to log in. Why do I have to look at my phone to get a message? And but it does provide that extra level of security to help keep you protected.
And we want the audience to know too, yes, it's an extra step and it may be, cumbersome for some, but it's worth it because it's going to protect you, because the loss that you can incur in the long term, if you don't take these extra precautions, could really cause harm, and you really want to avoid those losses.
Right.
So, you provide help for businesses. On the Mental Margarita Show, we have a lot of small businesses and at-home businesses, and they have to realize that they're just as much at risk.
So most business owners typically put a lot of time and effort into building their business, and it takes a long time to get to the point where they're profitable, and to have problems when have the risk of having all that go away because you got hacked, or because somebody was able to get into your email, or get into be able to find personal information and use that to exploit you is a horrible thing. So what we try and do is provide simplified security solutions. So you talked about not being too small to be targeted. Everybody hears about it when the MGM Grand gets hit, right? Everybody saw that because they're big and it's big news. But most people don't hear about the smaller places because, first of all, the FBI doesn't have enough agents to go out there and investigate all these smaller attacks, and they think something small is, well, I don't want to speak for them on here, but you'd have to have a significant amount to be lost for them to be able to dedicate resources, because there's just too many attacks going in, and there's not enough agents to look into it. So, and then the other piece is, typically if a small business gets hit, when you're hit by a cyber attack, it's a little different than most other crimes. Like if you get mugged or something like that, everybody feels sorry for you, and it's like, oh man, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But if you get hit by a cyber crime, then it's kind of like, well, why didn't you know better? Why didn't you think of, take extra precautions? Are you ignorant, or are you just stupid? Like it's kind of one of those crimes where, like, you get hit twice. You get hit from, the effects of the cyber attack, and then you get hit by reputation as well, because everybody expects you to know better.
So explain how your services, can help people both in person and virtual as well, get them on track.
So if you think that you've been attacked, if you think that somebody's in your systems, or you get a message on your screen that says, hey, we have your data, pay us money, the longer you wait, the more risk you're in. So typically it's good to go ahead and just disconnect from the internet, give a professional a call. You can give us a call. But you'll want to make sure that you get that taken care of as fast as possible. What our process looks like, first of all, we'll go through and make sure that it's actually a real threat. There are a lot of things out there nowadays that will pop up and it'll look like an attack, and they're just trying to get you to call a number, and so that they can start an attack. And so we'll make sure that it's a real threat, and then we'll go through and start making sure that you're safe and protected. Try and reduce the amount of damage that's being done. And then, I mean, it's a lot harder process to go through and stop an attack that's in progress. than it is to have the protection in place beforehand. And like if we have our security products on your systems, on your network, and an attack starts happening, we get notified immediately. Now, our advanced security package makes it so that an attacker would have to be very sophisticated in order to actually be able to breach that. Whereas our basic package, like it'll detect attacks that are happening, and it's got some stuff in there to auto stop to stop it automatically. But like we get notified if something strange is going on, and a human set of eyes gets looking at that immediately to try and make sure that they're not able to gain access. There are things you can do in order to protect your company. And I talk to a lot of business owners, and one of the common things that I hear is, oh, I'm pretty good at watching out for that sort of thing. But as you grow your business and you get, 5 to 10 employees, can you guarantee that every single one of them is going to be just as careful as you are? And it doesn't matter how good you are, eventually something will happen. So it's better to have the protection in place so that if something does slip up, you've got a stopgap.
And let's just, for the audience, let them know the extent of your services. So we keep talking about security law, but let the folks know what it is that all that you provide, because it's a number of things, so that people understand.
Yeah, so we do IT services. So your traditional IT services, where we go ahead and help with the computers. We help make sure that the network's working correctly, that you're able to transfer files in between computers safely, that your printers work properly. So all of the traditional IT related stuff. But we also do a lot of the cybersecurity side as well, making sure that we have about 7 layers of protection that we put in to make sure that you are safe, so that your data is safe, your patient's data is safe, or your client's data is safe, and that hackers are not getting into your system. I don't know if we want to go into like all the different layers of security that we do, but
what are the most common that people should have at a minimum? Really, because some people may choose to not be as extensive, but there's definitely probably a minimum that you would suggest.
An antivirus is good, but you got to make sure that you have kind of a next gen antivirus that has the ability to communicate with your router and communicate with your security operations center. So nowadays, really, we keep hitting on this AI a little bit, but attackers are utilizing AI to be able to go ahead and make hacking easier. It used to be, back in the old days, you'd have to target a company and say, oh, we're going to go after them, and we're going to gather information and put together this elite team that can go in and break into this company's system. Nowadays, you can essentially set up a bot that goes around and just checks address after address after address and sees what it can gain access to. And with AI, they've been able to go ahead and make it so that once it gets in, it just takes a quick snapshot of, okay, here's a sampling of files that we were able to gain access to. And then it just goes into storage and into a database. And then that database will essentially go and be put on the dark web and be sold off in lots. So I don't know if you've ever watched like Storage Wars or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's essentially what happens on the dark web is somebody will go and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to buy lot 47 of stuff that this hacker bot was able to go ahead and grab. And so they'll go and they'll take a look and they'll start sorting through the data and say, oh, wow, I found some medical information, or, oh, I found some credit card information. This looks like it might be for, a tax company. Let me go ahead and utilize the bot to go ahead and regain access, and then go ahead and create an attack based on that. And the problem is, it used to be that hackers would go ahead and they'd just be like, okay, well, I'm going to lock your files and then and you pay me a ransom. And that still happens. And that's a scary thing to have happen to you. And it's expensive as well, because, you know, you could pay tens of thousands of dollars, you know, to be able to gain that access back. And they're banking on you needing access to those files. They're banking on you not wanting your reputation to get damaged. And so what they've done is they've started figuring out, okay, well, now I can go ahead and say, instead of just locking those files, I can start looking at those individual files and say, okay, what more can I get out of this? Can I go and start, can I send an email and say, hey, I've got all of this data of yours. I'm going to email every single one of your clients and let them know personal details that you've had, like, so like an accounting or a therapy office or something like that. You know, I've been able to read all your patient notes. Like, it can start turning into a really scary thing, because then you've got reputation, you've got liability, you've got, you know, you got to make sure that you're safe and protected. Most businesses nowadays, if you connect to the internet, you should have a standard level of security. That includes the ability to block phishing attacks. It has an antivirus that communicates with your firewall. It has a security operations team, so they call that a SOC, that is going through and watching for weird activity on your networks. You want to have, you know, a business class firewall. Unfortunately, the firewalls that you get from your internet service provider, you know, they're good enough to get you on the internet and provide a little bit of security. But if you're running a business, especially a business of any significant size, you should probably get a firewall. As soon as you get to a point where you can't just walk away from your business, you're relying on that business to provide you and your family income, that's when you need to start thinking about security and making sure that you're protecting your investment.
Where do you think we're going here in the coming future that we should maybe look out for? What's kind of coming down the pipes that we should know about as consumers?
Most of us have heard about ChatGPT, and what you can kind of do with that with AI. I know a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people that kind of opened up ChatGPT, played with it once, and we're like, yeah, this isn't everything it's cracked up to be. But those of us that have kind of been watching AI and seeing where it was 5 years ago and where it is today, ChatGPT has some pretty cool, it's a pretty good indicator of where AI is with what it can go ahead and do. And I think you've been able to go ahead and utilize some you know, language-based models that help you know, help grow your marketing, and like there's a lot of different really cool things that you can do with AI nowadays. That is one small piece of what AI is. Imagine, and we're starting to see that with the image generation, the video generation. On the security side of things, we need to be aware that there's already been, I think there was one with Taylor Swift a while ago that kind of made the news because it was somebody famous, where they essentially made a video where it looked like Taylor Swift and it wasn't. Like, it looked like and sounded like Taylor Swift, but it was not her. And we're going to see more and more of that. I would probably expect with the elections coming up that there's probably going to be some of that going on, and we just need to start becoming more aware, and we're going to have to figure out as a society how to be able to differentiate between what our eyes are telling us and what we're hearing and what actual reality is. And so that's kind of a scary thing. But it's also going to open up a lot of really cool opportunities. So a lot of people are scared of AI taking over all of our jobs. What I would say is that AI will be able to help us all to be able to do our jobs more efficiently. So as a business owner, you can go ahead and take a look at that and say, okay, AI will go ahead and allow me to use less employees to get the same amount of work done. Or you can take a look at that and say, AI will allow me to do more work with the employees that I have and be able to reach and help more people. And so I would say if you're a business owner, if you're just a consumer, like start playing around with AI, get comfortable with it, utilize it a little bit. It's going to be a lot like computers, but it'll go a lot faster. So those of us that started using computers in the early days, we just kind of kept moving along with it. And if you kept engaged, you can still do most things. My grandparents, they said, well, I don't want to learn these new things. I don't want to learn these new things. And then it got to a point where they couldn't really function in society anymore because they just didn't have the skill sets to live in the digital age. And AI is going to be very similar to that, where if you don't know how to utilize it and don't know how to recognize, oh, well, that looks like it was written by AI, those types of things, then it's going to kind of put you at a disadvantage. Same thing as a business owner. If you fail to adopt AI in one method or another, then it's going to put you way behind the 8 ball. And these larger corporations that have got it all down are gonna be in position to kind of pass you up and stomp you out, unfortunately.
Before you hire your next IT professional, be sure to request this free report. This business advisory guide will arm you with 21 critical questions you should ask any IT consultant or company before giving them access to your IT systems.
Now, the name of this show is called Mental Margarita, and that is about us finding our center, how we escape from sometimes the busyness of life. John, what's your mental margarita? What do you like to do to get away and maybe get away from some of that stress that may come with technology and maybe just some of the everyday things that we go through?
Well, I've got a special needs son, and he's I love to hang out with him. He's essentially got the mind of a 3-year-old. He's 15 years old. So he's a big kid, but very, very happy. And so, if I need to be grounded, I just spend time with him, and he just looks at things in such a simple way. And so that really helps. Outside from that, I love going out mountain biking, that getting out in nature, doing a lot of hikes. That's kind of my escape.
That's great. And we all need to get away sometimes, and don't forget to take care of our inner child, that forget how to enjoy and enjoy life at any age and in any way. So thank you for sharing that with us. And how do people follow you? If the audience wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way that they need to contact you?
So our website is stsutah.com. So that's stsutah.com. You can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out.
Here are the reasons you can depend on superior technical solutions to keep you and your business up and running. Quick response. Emergency response time is 1 hour or less guaranteed. A live person will answer your call, or you can enter a service ticket yourself online with our streamlined service ticket system. We can log into your PC or server remotely and resolve many issues immediately without the wait for a technician to travel to your location. Reputable. Superior Technical Solutions has been around since 2009, a respected leader in the community and the industry. Our proudest accomplishment is the large number of long-term clients who year after year put their trust in us. Experienced. We hire only seasoned professional technicians with at least 5 to 10 years experience, and usually many more. We provide our technicians with continuing education opportunities on a regular basis to allow them to stay current with the latest technology. We won't be sending out warm bodies to train on your dime. Business savvy. We design, evaluate, and justify technology solutions from a thorough understanding of the business benefit for your company. One-stop shop. We handle all aspects of your IT infrastructure, including hardware and software management, vendor relationships for your internet connectivity, website management, maintenance renewals, and any other related technology needs. We focus on your IT so you can focus on your business. Proactive. Our service philosophy is proactive, not reactive. With state-of-the-art network monitoring and management, we manage your network 24/7 to identify issues and address them before they become problems, rather than putting out fires. Comprehensive project management. Our extensive experience managing all types of complex projects means we will handle every detail and coordinate all vendors so you can rest assured that your project will be completed on time and on budget. No geek speak. You deserve to have your questions answered in plain English. Our technicians will clearly explain what is happening so you understand. 100% satisfaction guarantee. We want you to be completely satisfied with our services. We will do whatever it takes to make you happy. No hassles, no problems.
So John, people that have seen you on the show now, you have a special offer that if they mention the Mental Margarita show, there's something that they can call you up and access. What is that?
Yeah. So we do what we call a network risk assessment. So we talked about it a little bit earlier about doing a risk assessment to see kind of where your security gaps are. It's healthy for every business owner at least once a year to kind of go through and take a look and see where their security gaps are and see if there's anything that they need to do in order to go ahead and keep themselves protected. So we're offering for the first 10 people that call us, we'll go ahead and do that for free for them. Normally that's, that pen test can cost anywhere from $500 to, several $1,000s, depending on the size of the company. And so that's something that I would recommend doing for any small business. That's the offer that we have.
Wonderful. You definitely don't wait, folks. Take advantage of this while you can. Again, the first 10 folks that call and mention the show. So thank you, John. Thank you for making that available to us. And we look forward to hearing from you again in the future.
You're starstruck, here's a sprinkle of the stardust. Hold your champagne glass and your cigars up. See the guys with mob ties drive the cars up. Bright lights, most nights they buy the bars up. Candy coated Chevy cars on the highway. It's Frankie baby, it's on and this is my way. Dean Martin at the Sands this Friday. With Sammy Davis, here's a little hint where I stay.